Hey y'all, welcome to another video on the Luderco Arms channel. So today I'm going to talk to you about Blackout Drive. Blackout Drive is how the Army moved convoys at night before we had night vision goggles for everybody. So first I will show you on my computer screen here. I will show you the components of the system and where they're mounted, and then I will go over to the whiteboard and show you how the system worked and basically how you did a convoy in the dark. So let's get started here. Get the camera set so you can see my computer screen, and let me bring up my pictures. So the Blackout Drive system consisted of a Blackout Drive headlight, which looks like this. So you had a little light bulb inside here, and then you have the little hood here, and I've got another picture here. So this is looking at it from the front, and you got a little bitty opening here where light shines through, and there's just a little bitty bulb in there, and this is literally about as bright as an old 2D cell flashlight. So, and it shines down at the ground. So with this hood over the top of it, it can't be seen from above. Any aircraft flying over 400 feet can't see the light, and most aircraft are flying over 400 feet. So that's the headlight, the Blackout Drive headlight. And then we've got on the front of the truck, there's also marker lights. Now this part here is your regular marker light, which won't be on during blackout. This is the blackout marker light here, and there'll be one of these on each side of the front of the vehicle. I'll show you that here. So if we look at the front of a deuce and a half M35A2, you'll see right here is that marker light and the blackout marker light, and the Blackout Drive headlight is right here underneath the regular headlight, and it shines down. And if we go to a Humvee, same thing. They've got the marker lights and the blackout marker lights here and here, and then your Blackout Drive headlight is right here. The Blackout Drive headlight is usually mounted on the driver's side. So then in the rear you have your tail lights, and they look like this. This is just random pictures I got off the internet. So this is your regular tail turn and brake light here, and it won't be on when you're using the blackout lights. So here you have this row, which is your blackout tail light, and there's 4 individual slots there that red light will shine out of when it is on. And then this little one at the bottom that's white is actually your blackout brake light, and it will flash on when you step on the brakes. And so these are mounted on the rear of the vehicle like this. Here's a deuce and a half. You got the tail lights with the blackout lights in them here and here, and here's the rear of a Humvee. Same deal, same lights. They're called composite lights. They use basically the same setup on every wheeled vehicle the Army has. So those are all the lights, and then they are controlled by your standard composite headlight switch, which is this bad boy. And the way this switch works, this lever here controls your instrument panel lights. So that's all it does, is your instrument panel lights. This is the lock lever. In order to move the main switch, you have to push this up and hold it, and then move the switch. So usually you will take your thumb, push up on that, and then move your top switch wherever you want it. Now you'll see here says stop light and service drive. That is your normal lights. Like in your car, you have your park lights and your headlights. This would be your park lights and your headlights. On the other side over here, you have BO marker and BO drive. BO is blackout. So blackout marker would be your front marker lights, your rear marker lights, and your brake lights. Blackout, the blackout ones. And then if you put it on blackout drive, you have all those, plus you have the little headlight on at the front. So this guy. Okay, so having seen all of the components and where they're located on the vehicle, now we can talk about how all of this works together. So we'll go over here. And here's a nice large drawing. This is the tail light. So up here is your regular tail light, brake light, turn signal. And if you're in blackout drive, that stays off. So if you're in blackout drive, these are going to be your lights down here. So you'll see I've got it drawn. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 little lights in this panel. Those are your tail lights. And then in this lower panel, there's a brake light, and it's just one light, and it's white. So if the vehicle in front of you taps on the brakes, that lights up. And so it's rather ingenious the way these work. But what you've got, basically the way a convoy would work, is your front vehicle would drive in blackout drive with the headlight, the little headlamp on. Now that thing's not very bright, and so usually you would have a person jogging in front of that front vehicle with and guiding it. Convoy speeds in blackout prior to NVGs, prior to night vision goggles, were less than 5 miles an hour. So you weren't getting anywhere fast, but you were getting there, and you were in the pitch black. So when you were going to do a convoy in blackout, and I've done this before because I joined the Army in 1991, and we didn't have night vision goggles in, just regular everyday units. And so we actually would practice this. So you would go out wherever your convoy was going to start at, and you'd go out in the woods, because this doesn't work if you're around towns with a lot of ambient light, because you lose your night vision, your normal night vision. So you would go out to a training area somewhere in the pitch black, and you would sit there in the pitch black with all the lights off for 30 minutes or so, and let your eyes adjust to the darkness. Once everybody's done that, then everybody will get in their vehicles, which are usually lined up for the convoy, and the front vehicle would turn on their blackout drive lights. So they would have their tail lights, brake lights if their foot's on the brake, and they would have that little headlight on. And so they're the lead vehicle, and they would usually have somebody ground guiding, and they would take off at pace less than 5 miles an hour. Now all the rest of the vehicles in the convoy usually would not use the blackout drive light, because it's just a distraction. The way these convoys would run is you had to trust that the person in front of you was following the person in front of them, was following the person in front of them. And what you did, if you were driving, each vehicle would have 2 people in it, minimum. A driver and an assistant driver. So as a driver, you would be concentrating on this light, on the driver's side of the vehicle in front of you. Nothing else mattered. What's around you, none of that matters. You're following this light right here. And you're looking at these and watching out for the brake light. So as you're looking at these 4 lights off in the distance, now you can't see any of this. All you can see are the lights in black. So you're looking at those lights, and if you see 4 lights, then you know you are 60 feet or less. 60 feet or less from the back of the truck in front of you. Now, if you're looking and what you're seeing is 2 lights. Now, when I say 4 lights, 2 lights, I'm talking about this one light. Okay? The one on the other side, your assistant driver is watching it. You're only concentrating on the one light. So your 4 lights. 4 lights means you're 60 feet or closer to them. If you're looking at it and it looks like 2 lights, then you know you're 60 to 180 feet from the vehicle in front of you. And if you look and you only see 1 light, then you are 180 plus feet. So how you would do this is you would be sitting in your driver's seat, and if you had a truck where you could fold the windshield down or up, it was even better because it made it easier to see. And you are concentrating on this one light on the driver's side of the vehicle in front of you, and you're looking at these, and these tell you what you need to do. So if you see 4 lights, you know you need to slow down a little bit and back off. If you see 2 lights, you're perfect, 60 to 180 feet. Then if you see 1 light, you know you need to speed up and get back to where you see 2 lights. And it is nerve-wracking. I'm here to tell you, it will drive you insane driving in a convoy at night, because you literally don't know anything that's going on around you. The people in the back of the truck, your other passengers, that's their business. You're driving, your only business is these little bitty tiny red lights in front of you, engaging your speed and following distance by how many of them that you can see with your eyes. Your assistant driver will be looking at the light on his side of the vehicle and doing the same thing. And what that does is helps you out, because he can tell you, hey, we're getting too far away, or hey, you're getting too close. In addition, he's also looking back to see those front marker lights on the vehicle behind you to ensure that everybody is keeping up. Now this works. I've done it myself personally in the pitch black with no night vision goggles, and drove many miles that way. But it is nerve-wracking, and it is slow. Like I said, less than 5 miles an hour. But it still gets you there, and they still won't know you're moving. And that is how we moved at night before night vision goggles. Now, when night vision goggles started to become available, in most units, you only had a few pairs of them. And so generally what would happen is your lead vehicle would have, the driver would have night vision goggles. Now the problem with night vision goggles though is you don't have a lot of depth perception, so it takes some getting used to and some training to be able to drive with them. So you would have, the front vehicle would have a pair of night vision goggles, and they'd be using those to see, but they still couldn't go any faster than 5 miles an hour because the rest of the convoy's back here concentrating on these little itty bitty lights. And as you saw when I showed you the pictures of these tail lights on the back of the trucks, they are tiny. You're not talking about a whole lot of nothing. But when it's pitch black outside, that's all you can see are those little lights. And you're concentrating on them. Do I see 1? Do I see 2? Do I see 4? And that tells you how close or far away you are from the vehicle in front of you. And that is how we did it. And to this day, all military vehicles have these marker lights on the back of them and the front of them. And I'll tell you a funny story about these Blackout Drive and everything. So when I was in Iraq, we got a call to go do a recovery mission in the middle of the night. And they gave us a grid coordinate and basic road directions to where we were going. And we were to go there and meet up with an M1 Abrams that had a mine plow on it. And he was going to plow us a road out to the vehicle that we had to pick up. And so we drive out there, find this Abrams, and get with the tank commander of the Abrams, and he's like, okay, it's not very far, it's only a couple 100 yards. He's like, but we're gonna do it in blackout because there's Hajis in the area, so don't want them taking pot shots at us, so we're gonna go in blackout. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, I know how to drive in blackout. Well, in his mind, because this is a young guy and he probably never drove without night vision at night before, and the M1 tank has it built into it, so they take off and I'm like sitting there. So I call him on the radio and I'm like, y'all never turned your blackout lights on. And he's like, what are you talking about? We got night vision. I'm like, yeah, but I don't. So they had to come back, and I had to go in the tank and show this tanker how to turn the Blackout Drive lights on, because he had never used them before. And thankfully they worked, so I was able to follow them. But that also brings me to one other thing I should tell you about this whole Blackout Drive system, is this works pretty good, not great, but pretty good on a clear night when there's nothing going on. But if it's dusty, if it's rainy, if it's foggy, then this is even worse. It goes out the window, especially dust. You can't see the lights in front of you when there's a cloud of dust. And so it does have its limitations. You can't, if you can't see the lights, it doesn't matter, because you're not going to be able to see the person in front of you. But that's basically how we did it. That's how Blackout Drive worked. And we did it a lot of years before NVGs became the norm. And I love NVGs because they're way better than driving in a blackout convoy. It's so slow and tedious, and it will drive you insane. But hopefully this video has been entertaining, help you learn something maybe. We still moved convoys at night with no lights on before we had NVGs. We did it all the time. So appreciate y'all watching. Appreciate y'all liking and subscribing and commenting, all that good stuff. And we will see you in the next video. Y'all have a good one.